Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
The views and opinions expressed by the host do not state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views, opinions, and insinuations made by the host, guests, do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network.
Good evening. For the first time in Philippine history, a sitting vice president stands before an impeachment court. What begins today is more than a political spectacle. It is a constitutional test that will define accountability, challenge our democratic institutions, and shape the country's political future for generations to come. In the weeks ahead, every argument, every piece of evidence, and every ruling will be measured against one standard, the Constitution. Tonight, we separate fact from rhetoric, law from politics, and headlines from history. I'm Romel Miranda, and this is the PH Insider on TV. Joining us now to break down the high-stakes legal mechanics of this trial is an expert on Philippine accountability and constitutional law, Attorney Jose Virgilio J.V. Bautista. Good evening, Attorney.
Good evening, Romel. At magandang gabi sa lahat ng inyong taga-subaybay at lahat ng nanonood.
To provide expert insight on the political and constitutional implications of this historic impeachment trial, joining us via Zoom is Professor Zenia Rodriguez, political analyst and faculty member from the University of Santo Tomas. Professor Rodriguez, welcome to the PH Insider.
Good evening, Sir Romel. Good evening, Attorney JV.
Taking center stage in tonight's discussion,
Day 1 ng impeachment trial, history in the making. Kasaysayan ang nasaksihan nitong Lunes nang formal na maupo ang Senado bilang impeachment court para litisin si Vice President Sara Duterte, ang kauna-unahang nakaupong Vice-Presidente na umaharap sa impeachment trial. Alas 2 ng hapon, binuksan ang paglilitis at inihalal si Denchis Escudero bilang presiding officer ng impeachment court. Sa kanyang pagbubukas, ipiniliwanag ni Escudero na 16 na boto ng mga senator judges ang kinakailangan upang mahatulan ang vice-presidente. Ngunit, kapansin-pansin ang hindi pagdalo ni Duterte sa unang araw ng paglilitis. Sa halip, ang kanyang legal team ang kumatawan sa kanya. Mabilis ding uminit ang pagdinig ng hilingin ng prosecution na agad ipa-arraign si Duterte. Ngunit, ibinasura ito ng impeachment court na siyang naging unang panalo ng depensa. Aabot sa 92 trial days ang inaasahang paglilitis sa 4 na articles of impeachment. Ayon naman sa prosecution, dapat magpatuloy ang impeachment trial kahit magbitiw pa sa pwesto ang vice-presidente dahil maaari pa rin siyang maharap sa habang buhay na diskwalifikasyon sa paghawak ng anumang posisyon sa gobyerno sakaling mapatunayang nagkasala. Andres Bonifacio Jr., DA TV News.
Ma'am, confirm lang namin sa din, pagbisita niyo.
let's put the issue on the table. Attorney, before we go to the nitty-gritty, Professor Zenia, may I ask both of you, para lang po sa kapakanan po ng ating pong mga mamamayan, ano po ba yung kahalagahan po ng isang impeachment trial na tulad nito na nakita naman po natin na nangyari na po in the past, no? Attorney JV.
Yes, alam mo, Romel, yung impeachment, isa tong mekanismo na espesyal na inilagay ng ating saligang batas para maabot natin yung pinakamatataas na opisyal ng ating republika.
Opo.
Kasi yung mga opisyal na yan, hindi mo basta-basta pwedeng tanggalin yan eh.
Opo.
Hindi pwede silang ihabla, lalo na ang Pangulo.
Opo.
May immunity from suit, debatable kung all the rest of the other impeachable officers are also enjoy immunity from suit kasi they can only be removed by impeachment. Kaya walang saysay na ihabla mo sila eh.
Opo.
Kailangan tanggalin mo sila, pagkatanggal nila tsaka mo sila ihabla. These are the president, the vice president, the members, the chief justice and members of the Supreme Court. the chair and the commissioners of the three constitutional commissions. At saka yung ombudsman.
Professor Sinya, the impeachment process is actually called a sui generis proceeding po, no? Sa inyo po, ano po yung kahalagahan na hindi po to itinatratong purely judicial or purely political aspect po ang impeachment?
This is actually not the first impeachment case that the public has witnessed. However, for some of our kababayans, these may be, most especially the younger ones,
Opo.
this may be the first impeachment case that they have witnessed. Ang gusto kong tutukan, ang kahalagahan nito is for them to understand that not any official is above the law. At kung may kailangan tayong tingnan in terms of their pagkakamali, we have constitutional processes na pwedeng gawin para litisin ito at tingnan kung may pagkakamali sila o hindi. So it gives our public a better understanding of the functions of our government and the responsibilities as well of our elected officials.
Thank you po, Professor. Attorney JB, punta po muna tayo doon sa simula po ng proseso. No? Bago po nagsimula ang impeachment court, naghalal po sila ng presiding officer.
Yes.
Basis po ba sa konstitusyon or sa iba pa pong ruling ng Supreme Court na exclusively po ba, dapat po ba si Senate President Win? O tama din po ang desisyon po ng impeachment court sa ngayon na maghalal po doon ng bagong presiding officer?
Yan ay isang bagay na sa paningin ko talagang ibinigay lang ng konstitusyon sa Senado.
Opo.
Sila magdidesisyon. Kasi ang sinabi lang ng konstitusyon, kapag ang Pangulo ang nasasakdal doon sa impeachment, kapag siya ang in-impeach, then ang Chief Justice of the Supreme Court ang magpipreside without voting powers.
Opo.
Magpipreside lang siya. Ano? Pero doon sa all the rest, wala namang sinabi Nga, meron namang parang pagkakaintindihan daw doon sa Constitution Commission na Senate President yan.
Opo.
No? Common sense naman yon. Kung hinalal kang Senate President, ikaw na mag-preside doon sa impeachment court ng Senate. Kasi, alam mo, Romel, yung impeachment court, hindi naman yan totoong court Kasi when you say court, it is run by a magistrate, a judge. Hindi naman sila totoong judge. Kasi to be a judge, you have to be a lawyer. Kailangan lawyer ka bago ka maging judge. Ngayon, tinawag lang silang ganon. Tinawag lang silang
Senator judge.
Senator judge, tinawag lang itong impeachment court. Pero sa totoo, hindi ito courtroom At hindi ito dapat pinatatakbo ng ganyan.
Sa inyo po, ano po ang pagtanggap po ninyo sa pagkakaupo po ni Senator Cheese bilang presiding officer?
Actually, yung tingin ko dito, no, it's part of, it's a tactical move, actually. Sa tingin ko, no, between these two senators. Una, itong si Senator Cheese, lumipat ito, and I think yung paglagay sa kanya as a presider for the impeachment trial actually seals the deal kasi he was the last vote needed para makumpleto yung majority. On the other hand naman, itong si Senator Gatchalian, I personally think that this weakens his stand as not a stand, but it weakens his his leadership ability as the Senate President. He could have, no? Kasi sabi nga ni Attorney JB, he could have presided over, but he decided not to. So I think it is also a way of protecting himself. So sakaling may mga nagkaroon ng malaking political drama dyan sa Senate, hindi siya ang liable nito kasi there's a lawyer talaga who sat there and presides over the trial.
Yeah, at the same time po, no, Attorney JB, yun nga po, yung binabanggit ko na pagiging sui generis po nitong proseso na to.
Oo.
Yung iba po kasi laging ini-insist po na, hindi, dapat ang presiding officer abogado kasi legal matters yung pag-uusapan. Pero tingin ko po, yung the other half of the argument goes to just the simple ability to preside over a proceeding.
Ito, Romela, number one, walang sinasabi sa saligang batas na kailangan ang umupong presiding officer sa impeachment court ay lawyer. Wala. Bukod tangi lang sa Pangulo. Kasi Supreme Court Chief Justice lawyer yan.
Opo.
Pero hindi bumoboto yan. Nagpipreside lang.
Opo.
Ibig sabihin nagpipreside, minamanage lang niya yung takbo ng proceedings. Okay. Ngayon, alam mo kaming mga abogado, no? Pagpasok namin sa husgado, yung huwes, yung clerk of court, yung abogado, yung kalaban mong abogado, puro kami abogado. Naintindihan namin ang batas, tsaka alam namin ang rules of procedure. So, ang pwede lang magsalita kasi sa husgado, abogado lang eh.
Opo.
Kaya nga, madalas nga yan eh, pagkatapos ng vista, bibigyan mo ng briefing yung iyong kliyente. Attorney, ano po ba nangyari? Papaliwanag mo sa kanya. Bakit? Kasi marami sa pinag-uusapan sa loob ng husgado, hindi naiintindihan ng pangkaraniwang tao o yung layman. Ngayon, andito tayo sa impeachment. Itong impeachment, hindi, kung sana gusto ng konstitusyon na ito gawing isang judicial proceeding, sana ibinato na lang sa Supreme Court.
Opo.
Andun yung magagaling na abogado di ba? O Supreme Court, kayo na lang ang magsabi, lahat ng pinakamagagaling na abogado, humarap na kayo dyan. Bakit hindi ganon?
Opo.
Kasi, ang impeachment ay isang paghuhusga ng taong bayan. Hindi ng mga abogado, ng taong bayan sa pamamagitan ng kanilang mga representante. Hinalal nila yung mga congressman, o kayo magsabi, meron bang impeachable na ginawa itong opisyal na mataas na ito? Meron. Dalhin nyo sa Senado. Yung Senado, let us remember, ang mandate niyan, buong bansa. Di ba yung bumaboto sa kanila? Ganun eh.
Representante pa rin po.
Oo. So, ang mandate nila, ang constituency nila, pantay lang sa Vice President. Madami naman sila Di ba? 24 sila. Ngayon, tingnan mo ang composition ng ating Senado. Lilima lang dyan ang abogado. Yung isa nakulong pa, si Marcoleta. Sa sumobra galing, nakulong. Merong natitira ngayong 4. Okay? Si Escudero, yung magkapatid na Cayetano, at si Pangilinan. Yan lang abogado. Okay? All the rest of the so-called senator judges are not lawyers and are therefore laymen.
Opo. Professor, yung pong the clear absence po of the Vice President during the first trial, the second day and the third day po, ano po ang tingin niyo po na dating po nito o impression po ng ating po mga mamayan dito po sa kanyang stand po as a defendant po?
We can view it po in two ways, kasi may kakampi siya, meron ding against her. So, para sa mga supporters ni Vice President Duterte, justifiable na hindi siya pumunta at kakampihan nila na hindi ka pupunta kasi muro-muro ang tingin mo dito This is just a joke for everyone na hindi to totoo, This is just a tactic to dismantle your credibility as Vice President. On the other hand, on a very serious note, I think it doesn't stand well for her rather, if she does not show herself to the Senate. Kasi mas maganda, mas maayos, mas malinaw kapag nandun siya to answer all the accusations and the allegations against her. She cannot, well, it is true that the defense attorneys can actually represent her. But I think it would add more weight and strength probably on her defense kapag siya mismo ang sumagot sa mga tanong na ito. That is, if she truly believes in the process, then she has to respect it and she has to show herself.
Attorney, meron pong, punta po tayo doon sa ano po ng depensa, after doon sa systematiko at I would describe as methodical direct examination po of the first witness. Meron pong sinabi po doon yung depensa na sinasabi niya na, teka muna, itong grave threats actually cognizable to by the MTC, So this is not one of those high crimes contemplated by the Constitution. Pero sa ordinaryong tao po, ano po ba yung talagang gusto nating sabihin? Bakit po natin siya sinama doon sa articles of impeachment nang trineten niya ng assassination po ang President, the First Lady, and the former Speaker of the House po?
Ako'y medyo nalulungkot kasi yung pagkakagayak ng articles of impeachment, mukhang mali. Mukhang mali. Hindi dapat yung prosecution or yung mga House managers mag-concentrate on the felony of grave threat. Kasi ang grave threat, maliit na kaso yan Maliit lang. Ang grave threat, pinagbantaan mo lang Kung yan may kondisyon, it becomes qualified, mas malataas ng konti. Pero hindi naman yun talaga ang pinag-uusapan dapat. Hindi nila dapat i-prove kung may grave threat ba dito o wala. Kasi kahit may grave threat yan, hindi impeachable ang grave threat. Ang impeachable dito, Romel, ito. Yung bang pagkilos ni Vice President, yung pagmumura, yung pagsabi niya na may kinuha na siya, na papatay sa Pangulo, yan ba ay mga asal ng isang vice presidente? Yan ang tanong. Because yung phrase na high crime, hindi naman talaga crime yan eh. Hindi ibig sabihin yan, may isang felony na gawa ka, it is a high crime. A high crime, according to constitutional tradition at saka definitions, even in the US jurisdiction at saka dito, is a grave misconduct. That makes the one who committed it unfit for office. Yan yun eh. It undermines the dignity of the office. So, ibig sabihin, kung meron kang isang mataas na pinuno, kamukha ng Vice President, na nagsasabi na kumuha na ako ng papatay sa'yo, kumuha na ako ng papatay sa Presidente, sa First Lady, at saka sa Speaker of the House, at saka nagmura buong gabi, that is serious misconduct. That undermines her office. And therefore, it is a high crime. That is already one of the grounds para tanggalin siya under the Constitution. Hindi yung grave threat.
Do you agree po with Senator JB's observation na it is actually the decorum and the state of mind of the President that is actually being addressed by the impeachment, not necessarily the felony as described in the revised penal code na grave threat po?
Ang tingin ko naman, I'll zero in po muna doon bakit nila inuna yung grave threat doon sa paglilitis. Feeling ko ito isang from my point of view as a political analyst, tingin ko ito isang calculated psychological strategy. Kasi if they take the financial audit first, they would be relying on accounting documents. Medyo hindi magiging interesado yung mamamayan sa pakikinig, Pero kapag sinimula nila ang impeachment trial with this, NBI video forensics, the infamous press release of the Vice President, the prosecution here ensured na yung unang linggo ng trial, magdodominate sa evening news, magiging cinematic, magiging sensational, kasi mas relatable ito sa mga mamamayan. So it's a battle actually, I think it's a battle for the emotion of the public. The prosecution here, in my opinion, once they establish this narrative of there is a danger coming out from the mouth of the Vice President, which forced the defense naman to argue against it. Pero tama ko kayo, I agree with the fact din na tinitingnan din nila yung mental, yung psychological stability ng ating Vice President. Kasi sa tingin ko, if you are in an elected position, a public official, which is supposed to be being trusted by everyone, the reason why you are elected, you shouldn't be saying those kinds of words in public. Kasi this is really very unbecoming of you. Plus, it would lead to many questions about your stability and your mental capacity as an elected official.
I think ako naman po, I will just be, again, I would put myself in the position of a layman, of an ordinary person. Ang tingin ko po, yung pong mga ordinaryong government officials, government or simple rank and file officials po ng gobyerno. If they have done this, very swift, very straightforward, I think to belittle the act by defending it, na there was a necessity for the Vice President to do it, as mentioned po by the defense. I think it's a stretch po, and it is somehow gives an impression that there is a distinction between the Vice President and the ordinary government employees as regards the expectation of decorum and accountability. I don't know if you agree with that.
I fully agree. Ang sa tingin ko, tama yung direksyon na yun. Tama yun. Para maintindihan ng taong bayan kung bakit natin tinatanggal, bakit kailangan tanggalin ng Senado ang Vice President, dahil doon sa inasal niya na ganyan, ay sapagkat wala dapat na opisyal ng ating pamahalaan na nagsasalita ng ganyan, nagmumura kaliwat kanan. Dapat sana yung mga simbahan, yung mga eskwelahan, pumasok na rin sa debate dito eh. Tapos sasabihin, kumuha na ako ng papatay sa Pangulo, kumuha na ako ng papatay sa First Lady. Pagka ganyan ng opisyal mo, at pinalusot mo yan, wala na tayong kakwenta-kwentang bansa.
From setting the rules of the trial to weighing its first pieces of evidence, the impeachment proceedings entered a critical new phase on day 2. We'll break it all down after the break. Stay with us. You're watching the PH Insider on TV.
Good day everyone, I am William Theo and I am inviting you to watch the PCSO lottery draws that we air 3 times a day, every single day. We not only play for fun, not only for winnings, but most importantly for charity. So let us always remember, play smart, play safe, and most importantly, play responsibly.
Welcome back to the PH Insider on TV. The legal battle intensified on day 2 as prosecutors presented their first witness, introduced key video evidence, and the Senate Impeachment Court ruled on a series of defense motions.
Banta ni BP Sara Duterte, sumentro ang Day 2. Mas tumindi ang tensyon sa ikalawang araw ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Ito'y matapos ibasura ng Senado bilang impeachment court ang ilang mosyon ng depensa at pahintulutan ang pagpapalabas ng kontrobersyal na video kung saan narinig ang umano'y pagbabanta sa Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos at dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Bago magsimula ang paglilitis, dumating si Duterte sa Senado upang makipagpulong sa kanyang mga abogado, ngunit hindi siya pumasok sa impeachment court. Sa panayam, sinabi niyang, "I will be bloodied but unbowed." Umiikot ang ikalawang araw ng paglilitis sa Article 4 na tumatalakay sa kasong grave threats laban sa Vice-Presidente. Bilang unang testigo ng prosekusyon, tumetestigo ang isang NBI Cyber Investigation Agent na nagpatunay sa forensic authentication ng mga livestream video na naglalaman ng naturang mga pahayag. Iginiit ng prosekusyon na ang mga binitawang salita ni Duterte ay nagpapakita ng umano'y plano laban sa 3 matataas na opisyal ng pamahalaan. At anila, mas mabigat ang usapin dahil ang mga pahayag ay nagmula mismo sa isang nakaupong vice-presidente. Samantala, ibinasura rin ng impeachment court ang mosyon ng depensa na alisin ang unang testigo ng prosekusyon at ang hiling na alisin sa record ang opening statement ng House prosecutors. Andres Bonifacio Jr., D8
The whole
TV
truth,
News.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the
So
truth.
help me God.
So help me God.
Your witness,
Professor
counsel.
Sinya, yung motion po ng defense, no? Ano po yung sa tingin yung nagiging takbo po ng trial as far as this first article is concerned? I mean, Article 4 po.
Para tayong nasa high stakes television drama yesterday, when we saw it, of how they grilled the NBI forensics expert to authenticate the video clips of the Vice President talking about that hitman. Although this captured actually the attention of the midnight news, it dominated the midnight news. Pero what are we expecting? Actually, we are expecting the defense to stand their ground on this, and hopefully, as the way I see it, the prosecution will be able also to hold their ground tungkol dito. Tama ho kayo kanina sa sinasabi nyo na si attorney kanina, tama ang sinasabi niya na we should focus on the decorum of the Vice President. Kasi any other government official, government servant for that matter, kapag nagsalita ng ganyan, sigurado may disciplinary action more so. And also, yung sinasabi ng depensa na it was an emotional outburst of the Vice President, I don't think it would stand ground. Kasi justifiable po ba yun na kapag galit ka, any other utterance is just allowable for you in public dahil galit ka? I don't think an emotional outburst is justifiable. It simply says that I'm sorry to say, but it simply says that how unstable are you in your thinking if kung ganun ka magsalita in a public press conference, right?
Yes, thank you, Professor. Attorney, doon po sa depensa po yung pong statement po ng defense panel po with regard to actually admitting, essentially admitting that the Vice President did say those things. But there's some sort of a defense. What prompted the Vice President to say those things? Ano pong assessment po ninyo doon?
Kasi nga, pagka ipinipilit mo na grave threat yan, alam ng mga abogado ng kabila kung paano sirain yun. Di ba? Alam nila na ito ay justified dahil ginanito nyo yung sekretaryo ng Vice President. Trabaho nila yun eh. Trabaho ng Defense Counsel yun eh. Kaya nga ayoko sanang ito sumusobrang overjudicial tong napanood natin over the last 3 days eh. Masyadong parang tournament ng mga abogado eh.
Opo.
Pagalingan ng prosecutor, defense, objection, kaliwat kanan, sino mas magaling, sino mas maganda magdala ng Amerikana, sino mas maganda magdala ng barong. Hindi naman yun ang punto eh, di ba? Hindi dapat tumutok doon sa grave threat. At ang tutukan talaga yung ikinilos ng Vice President. Shoot yan sa sa other high crimes at saka sa betrayal of public trust. Ito Romel, itong pinagtatakan ko dyan. Kung bakit hindi ko nagugustuhan yung naging takbo sa 3 araw na yan. Isipin mo na lang, ha? Isang NBI agent, isang testigo lang, na ang kailangan lang niya, i-authenticate lang niya yung
electronic evidence.
Oo, yung electronic evidence. Bakit kailangan abutin ng 2 araw yan? Para sa akin, it doesn't make sense eh, di ba? Samantalang milyon-milyon na nakapanood, nakita na natin yan eh, hindi na yan bago eh. And even the defense panel can actually come into an admission na ito ba pinalabas ni Vice President? Siya ba yan? You can admit, hindi naman lang pwedeng itanggi eh. Kasi nanonood ang taong bayan. Pag tinanggi nila, they're dishonest. Di ba? They are resorting to legal technicalities na hindi naman makakasalba sa kanilang kliyente.
Tingin po ninyo sa pagtakbo ng trial po na ito, yung paglalabanan, pagtatagisan po ng mga abogado. Of course, there's a light at the end of this tunnel po. No? Kayo po, ano po para sa inyo po yung light at the end of this tunnel po?
Pati nga ako si Senator Padilla na guguluhan na sa kaka-objection. Pati siya naguguluhan from the point of view ng isang ordinaryong mamamayan. Talaga ako nakakagulo. But even the prosecution yesterday said, nangyayari po talaga to, di ba? Na kailangan may mga objections na nangyayari. But really, Sir Attorney, if they continue doing this, well, I think it is part of the procedure. But the ordinary person would say na ito nagpapatagal dito eh. Why can't you just stick to what is supposed to be said? Diba? So dapat maintindihan siguro din ng mga taong bayan, bakit ganito din ang proseso? Kasi pag hindi ko ito pinapaintindi, ang isipin lang ng nanunood na hindi nakakaintindi sa mga nangyayari, this takes time for the impeachment trial to be conducted. Pero ang tagal, kasi purusa lang kayo ganyan, pabalik-balik. And ika nga ni Senator Bam Aquino kahapon, we will experience impeachment fatigue. It drags the attention of the public away from the trial itself.
Pero Professor, yung pong si NBI agent Kalilong po, sa tingin niyo po ba nabasag po ng depensa yung kredibilidad niya bilang witness po for the prosecution?
Based on my not on the legal point of view, maayos naman po yung credentials ni the NBI witness, Pero yung sinasabi ko kasi nila na they are questioning whether it's an AI or not. Obviously, it's not an AI kasi di ba 2024, everybody saw it. Pero kung tinatanong nila ang proseso for authenticating, I think naman he was I don't know, if he was thorough enough in his own belief na na-authenticate niya ng masyado. So kahit na sabihin na yun lang ba ang paraan sa pag-authenticate mo but let's be real here. We have very few resources to authenticate evidences such as this. Kung gusto, ipadala yan sa abroad to authenticate it even more. But then why so? Kung inaamin naman nila na totoo yung video na yon. It's just a matter of discussing whether she should have said it or not. So I think that from my point of view, no, from an ordinary person's perspective and an analyst, I think the credibility of the NBI official stands for itself.
Do you share the same view, attorney?
Alam mo, sa punto de vista ng abogado, maayos yan.
Opo.
Maayos yan. Pinesenta pa nga siyang expert, hindi naman kailangan eh. Kasi hindi naman kailangan expert mag-authenticate eh. Nakalagay naman doon sa rules on electronic evidence kung paano kang mag-authenticate ng electronic evidence. Kailangan nakita mo, nabasa mo, sa'yo, na pinadala sa'yo, ano yung platform. Yun lang naman ang hinihingi doon eh. Hindi naman kailangan rocket scientist yan sa authentication. Madali lang yan. Ang naging problema nga, bakit katagal-tagal na ginawa nila yung authentication ng paganyan. Pero, from the point of view of law, alam mo kasi, Romel, ang abogado, trabaho niyan, umobject eh. Kahit tulog yan, umobject yan. Kahit nakatulog yan sa vista, umobject yan.
Okay.
Kaya, hindi mo naman masisi yung kabila na object siya na object kasi hinaharas niya yung yung nagtatanong eh. Kaya nung nagtatanong na rin, nagko-cross-examine naman itong kabila, object rin naman na object yung kabila eh. Kasi hinaharas din niya eh. Di ba? Dinidisturb niya, dinidisrupt niya yung trend of thought ng examiner.
Opo.
I mean, that is natural and logical.
Opo.
Kaya nga, ayaw naman sana natin na ma-over-judicialize. Kasi hindi totoong court yan.
Opo.
Hindi husgado yan. Most of the senators are not lawyers. Hindi dapat napapanood nila mga abogadong nagtatagisan pagalingan kung sino mas magaling umobject at saka kung sino mas magaling umargumento ng law. This is a trier of facts.
Mapunta po tayo dun sa punto na meron daw pong posibilidad na ang prosecution po ay tawagin ng Vice Presidente bilang hostile witness, meaning to compel her to testify in front as initiated by the prosecution. Professor, ano po ang tingin yung prospect po nitong ganitong sitwasyon po? Natawagin si Vice President as a hostile witness.
Maaari hong tawagin. Ang tanong ho is kung pupunta ho ba siya, kung tatawagin po siya. I leave it to Attorney JV to explain the legalities of what the implications would be, if she comes or if she doesn't comes, and what and how it is for the impeachment trial.
Attorney, can the court compel the Vice President?
My answer there is no, they cannot. Alam mo, kasi yung court has subpoena powers. Yung subpoena powers, pag hindi mo sinunod yun, it can lead to a citation for contempt. Pero paano mo i-contempt yung Vice President? Bawal nga, di ba? Kailangan tanggalin mo muna sa posisyon bago mo siya maparusahan eh. So, kahit magsubpoena sila sa Vice President, kung hindi pumunta, can they compel? My answer is, they cannot compel. Ngayon, ang question naman ngayon, kung pumunta, remember, she is going to be presented as a hostile witness. In the procedure for a hostile witness, kailangan, ikaw, halimbawa, si Lorna Kapunan, kung siya ang pa-examinin, isubmit mo muna yung interrogatories mo. Ibig sabihin, bigay mo yung tanong mo. Kung ano itatanong mo sa kanya. Tsaka mo tanungin. Kami mga abogado, hindi kami tatawag ng testigo para umupo sa witness stand to prove our case, na hindi namin sigurado kung ano sasabihin. Okay? Hindi kami magtatanong on cross-examination or even lalo na sa direct na mga tanong na hindi namin alam ang sagot. Kailangan pag nagtanong kami ng tanong, alam namin ang sagot. Ngayon, dadali mo si Sara Duterte dyan. Alam mo naman how unstable she is and how capable she is of saying anything and everything under the sun. Paano pag dumating? Mas malaki problema ng prosecution. Di ba? So, do not play with fire. Damn if you do, damn if you don't yan. Sino ang magiging winner dyan? Di natin alam. Di ba? So, just rely on the strength of your own case. Bakit naman kailangan yung kalad ka rin yan? Kung gusto ng Vice President pupunta yan eh. Kasi nothing can compel the impeachable official to attend or not to attend kasi may lawyers na siya doon. Yun ay appearance niya eh.
I think if she is presented by the defense.
Tama yun, di ba? Si Corona ginawa yun, pero look what happened. It was a disaster. Di ba? Mas maganda sana sa strategy ng impeachment. Tingnan mo si Bill Clinton, hindi naman pumunta. Nung in-impeach siya ng US Senate, hindi siya pumunta. Kasi hindi naman kailangan eh. They cannot compel. Di ba? Ando na yung defense counsel mo. Let them defend your case.
Ay binanggit po niya kung ilan ang kailangan po na mag-rule para po ma-impeach po, para po ma-convict si Vice President, which is 16. Binanggit na po kagad ni Senator Chis Escudero as the presiding officer. But given the reality po right now that Bato is in hiding, Senator Marcoleta is in jail, Senator Jingo Estrada is also in jail, are you inclined to doon sa move po ng iba na dalhin po ulit to sa Supreme Court in order to come up with a ruling as regards the 2/3 requirement of the law or the Constitution po?
Actually, yung tingin ko doon, di ba Senator Escudero said that the conviction strictly requires 16 votes, he is unmoved by the shrinking active pool of senators due to the arrest of Marcoleta and the at large na si Senator De La Rosa at itong si Senator Jinggoy. Ulitin naman natin, sa ganitong paraan, sa ganitong sitwasyon, the defense would only need 9 votes to acquit. So, ano ang dating nito sa atin? Ang tingin ko dito, ayaw na lang, I don't know how to say it properly, but I think Senator Escudero would just want to maintain the fact na, we are not going to circumvent anything. So kung ito yung talagang nasa batas, ito ho yung susundin natin. Okay? So kung 16 votes ang required for conviction at ganito tayo, then fine. We will not do anything anymore. So if you're going to transfer your votes towards us for the conviction, then that's it. So let the minority decide later on after presentation of all the evidences.
I think, masyadong pre-empt naman ni Escudero, yung pagsabi niya na kailangan ang vote is 16, he had no authority to say that. Sino ba siya? He is not the impeachment court. He is a mere presiding officer. Kailangan minamanage lang niya yung takbo eh. Pero for him to say that, dapat yung buong impeachment court ang nag-decide noon. And hindi pwede i-decide yun ng caucus-caucus lang. Magdebate kayo at pakita nyo sa amin kung ano ang dahilan kung bakit 16 yan or it should be based on a number that is less than 16 based on, let us say, 22 or 21 senators. Di ba? Dapat ganon. I think, Escudero, akala na marami kasi nanunood, mabilis siya magsalita, marami siyang hinuhugot ng mga legal words, legal concepts. Akala maganda na yung ginagawa niya. Para sa akin, I think he's doing the impeachment proceedings a great disservice.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney. Having admitted key evidence into the record, the Senate Impeachment Court moved to the next phase of the proceedings, where the prosecution's first witness faced cross-examination by the defense. Politics is never measured by the size of a crowd alone. It is measured by the strength of our institutions, the integrity of our laws, and the willingness of those in power to be held accountable. The Pitch Insider will be right back.
Chikale, inaanyayahan ko po kayong manood ng D8 Patrol tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5:30 ng hapon hanggang alas 6 ng gabi. Tampok ang mga malalaki at pinakamainit na balita sa bawat sulok ng mundo. Lahat ng pangyayari ihatid sa inyo na may malinaw na impormasyon. Dito lamang yan sa D8 Patrol.
Welcome back to the PH Insider on TV.
Day 3 ng impeachment trial versus BP Sara Duterte lalong tumitindi. Nagtapos ang unang linggo ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa panibagong hakbang ng Senado bilang impeachment court matapos aprubahan ang hiling ng prosekusyon na isyuan ng subpoena ang Office of the Vice President Chief of Staff na si Undersecretary Zuleika Lopez. Inaasahang haharap si Lopez sa impeachment court sa pagbabalik ng pagdinig sa Lunes, July 13 bilang isa sa mga pangunahing testigo ng prosekusyon kaugnay ng Article 4. na tumatalakay sa alegasyong grave threats laban sa Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos at dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Kasabay nito, tinapos ng unang testigo ng prosekusyon na si NBI Senior Agent John Mark Calilong ang kanyang testimonya. Ayon sa kanya, nagsagawa ng investigasyon ng NBI sa umano'y pagbabanta ni Duterte bilang bahagi ng mandato nitong imbestigahan ang mga banta laban sa Pangulo at iba pang matataas na opisyal ng pamahalaan. Sa cross-examination, iginiit ng depensa na may umano'y sistematikong pang-aapi ang Kamara laban kay Zuleika Lopez. Kasunod ng mga video na nagpapakitang umiiyak ito habang nasa kustodiyan ng House of Representatives. Samantala, naghain din ang prosekusyon ng mosyon upang makuha ang tax records ni Duterte mula sa Bureau of Internal Revenue bilang bahagi ng kanilang ebidensya. Magbabalik ang impeachment trial sa Lunes, July 13, kung saang inaasahang magpapatuloy ang presentasyon ng mga testigo at ebidensya ng prosekusyon. Andres Bonifacio Jr., D8 TV News.
Okay. Attorney, ito po, no? The prosecution is planning to present po the Chief of Staff of the Office of the Vice President, Undersecretary Zuleika Lopez. Sa tingin niyo po, ano po yung importansya ng testimony na gustong i-elicit po ng prosecution mula dito sa individual na to?
Hindi ko rin malaman bakit kailangan tawagin nila eh. Kasi hostile witness din yan. Kasi alam naman nilang nasa kampo yan ni Vice President, di ba? So, ano ang sasabihin niyan na makabubuti para doon sa pagpapatunay nung kaso ng prosecution? Sigurado, attorney rin yan lawyer yan. She can hold her ground. At dito sa impeachment court, kahit awayin niya yung abogado ng prosecution o ng mga house managers, hindi siya makukontempt. Kasi witness siya pinatawag naman siya Dapat tratuhin siya ng may kortesiya at saka dapat polite. So, as I said, ang hirap maintindihan bakit siya kailangan patawag. Sa ngayon kasi masyadong maaga Ang aga-aga, bakit ang pinatatawag mga hostile? Kailangan patawag mo dyan sana yung mga magsusuporta nung sinasabi mo. Kung ang pinatutunayan nila, ginawa ito ni Vice President, ganun yung mga kinilos niya, ganun yung behavior niya, ganun yung hindi katanggap-tanggap, yung sinabi nga ni Professor kanina, kasi ginawa niya to publicly Kung nag-meltdown siya in private, walang nakakakita. Wala tayong pakialam doon, kasi private yun Pero ito, binidyo niya Pagkatapos, pinalabas sa lahat. Sinigurado niyang makakaabot ito Hindi lamang doon sa kinauukulan, kila Presidente Marcos, kundi sa buong lahat na manunood nito, makakaabot. So, I think, as I said, this, again, is going to be a very risky call on the part of the House managers, yung House prosecutors.
Sa darating po na linggo, nag-line up na po ng mga ipipresent na witnesses po ang prosecution team. Ano po ang evaluation niyo po doon sa mga susunod na tatawagin po na mga miyembro din po ng NBI, I think?
Gusto ko tutukan yung pagtawag din kay Attorney Zuleika Lopez.
Opo.
Kasi I think this would be a massive turning point doon sa impeachment trial. Si Lopez kasi, Attorney Lopez kasi is the gatekeeper, being the Chief of Staff, she is the gatekeeper of the Office of the Vice President. So yung testimony niya can actually bridge both worlds. She knows exactly what happened during the House detention drama na nag-trigger nung outburst ni VP Duterte at yung threat niya. Then she, being the Chief of Staff, is also also has access rather to the paperwork for the confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President. So the prosecution's attempt to secure a narrative from the inside by asking her to be on the stand. Ang tingin ko kasi dito, they're trying to test the loyalty of the Vice President's inner circle under the immense pressure of the trial. So, tama ho si Attorney kanina na dito makikita yung resolve ni Attorney Lopez at yung kanyang loyalty. But she's a lawyer, and if she can hold her ground, then yan yung magandang abangan actually sa susunod na linggo.
Thank you po, Professor. Attorney, as to the tax records, di ba napunta na po yun sa Senado pero inutos po na ibalik muna sa NBI. Sa mga hindi po nakakaintindi ng batas, ano po ba yung issue about custodial legis ng BIR records po?
Custodial legis simply means in the custody of the court.
Opo.
Ano? In custodial legis. Sa akin na yan. Nagpapasikat lang si Senator Escudero again kasi sabi niya, hindi pa naman naipipresenta yan as evidence. And therefore, hindi pa yan ino-offer sa atin. So, hindi natin yan makukuha in custodial legis. Ako, I simply disagree with that. Andun na eh. Andun na sa custody nila eh. Technically, nasa kamay na nila, di ba? Custodial legis na yun eh. In the custody of the Senate, di ba? Bakit pa kailangan ipabalik?
Sir, doon po sa apat po na articles of impeachment, inuna po tungkol po dito sa threat, no, grave threat against the President, the First Lady, and the former House Speaker. Doon po sa natitirang tatlo, alin po yung sa tingin po ninyo is mas maganda po ang prospect as far as the prosecution is concerned na mapapakita po nila yung gusto nila ipakita sa mga mamamayan po?
I'm hoping na itong unexplained wealth and inaccuracies in her statement of assets and liabilities, tsaka yung corruption and allegations linked to the DepEd. I'm hoping that they could submit proper documentation. Kaya tama si attorney doon, I agree with attorney, na nandun na nga yung BIR box sa Senate eh. So I myself really do not understand why it has to be returned doon sa House, and even the House prosecutors also tried to warn the Senate na if you refuse to, if you block the opening of that green box, this could trigger public outage. Naalala natin yung second envelope na nag-spark ng EDSA nung panahon ni President Estrada, no? Ito nga naman, si Senator Escudero, he insisted on returning it. Para bang, I mean, hindi naman namin kailangan eh, but then, it's supposed to be a massive reality check actually, that it's already in your hands. So why you just don't want to be accountable for it? Safe naman yun sa inyo. Bakit mo pa ibabalik? I do not know what that strategy would be. But I think the evidences are there. So if you want to prove it, then have it there, have it studied, and have it presented in the proper time.
Thank you po, Professor. Attorney, siguro mga parting question na lang po, no. Ano po yung pwede po natin pang i-appeal, no, as far as the senator judges, the presiding officer, both with the defense and the prosecution? Kasi at the end of the day po, all of this boils down to our common pursuit of coming up with officials who are held accountable po, no? Would uphold public trust, would uphold the Constitution, and really serve the common good as far as the people is concerned. Ano po yung appeal po ninyo dito po sa mga institusyon at mga individual na ito?
In the opening of the program, sabi mo nga, Romel, this is a historic political moment in our country, no? Kasi napaka-importanting usapan ito.
Opo.
Can you hold a high official like the Vice President of the Republic accountable for her conduct in office? Meron ba siyang ginawa na hindi katanggap-tanggap sa sambayanan para siya ay tanggalin at wag nang pababayaan na makabalik sa public office? Yan lang naman ang tanong natin eh. Pero sana padaliin ng ating mga senador. Mas marami naman yung hindi abogado diyan kaysa abogado. Why can you not adopt some very simplified rules ng pagtutuos kung papaanong makikita ang ebidensya nang hindi kailangan dumaan sa butas ng karayom ng judicial scrutiny, na ginagawa ngayon nitong mga abogadong magagaling. Kasi wala naman tayong question na, sige, magagaling na kayong abogado. Nagpapakitaan nga kayo, nagpapalabasan kayo ng galing nyo dito sa impeachment eh. Sige na, you have your 15 minutes of fame. Kaya lang, hindi naman yan ang gusto ng taong bayan. Ang may gusto niyan, yung mga content creator na gumagawa ng mga meme. Ang gusto ng taong bayan, mapatunayan kung meron bang pagkakasala o wala ang pangalawang Pangulo. I want these impeachment proceedings to succeed. Whether it leads to conviction, and I think it should. The impeachment case is for the House prosecutors or managers to lose. It is for them to lose. Ibig sabihin, masyadong malakas yan eh. Pagka yan, hindi nyo napatunayan at natalo kayo dyan sa kaso na yan, meron kayong ginawang hindi tama. Ngayon, pagka pinabayaan ninyo ang takbo ng impeachment natin sa kamay ng abogado lamang, nitong mga magagaling na abogadong ito, tandaan nyo, hindi maintindihan ng karamihan ng mga senator judges itong nangyayari. Hindi maintindihan ng taong bayan yung kung ano nangyari. At tama si Professor kanina, you have 92 days to litigate this. 62 days para sa prosecution and 30 days para sa defense. Sa tingin natin, sa 92 days na yan, manunood araw-araw ang taong bayan. Di ba? Palagay ko, aabutan tayo ng fatigue. Magsasawa eh. Hindi na panunuorin yan. Mawawalan ng gana, mawawalan ng atensyon sa isa sa what we described kanina as one of the most historic activity or proceedings that we are going to witness in these days.
Professor, ano pong inyong pong appeal or paningin sa prospect po ng impeachment trial?
This is the first time kasi na nangyayari ito, ano? So sana naman, this should not be about legal definitions. Kasi nga, ang interesado ang taong bayan makinig dito eh. Ang unang usapan dito sa impeachment trial, nung first day, na nag-open sila, is magsalita sila sa isang lingwahe na maiintindihan ng ordinaryong mamamayan. Kung pwede nga lang ho, magsalita in Filipino. Kasi hindi lang naman ho yung mga academicians, hindi lang ho yung mga legal experts ang nakikinig dito. So kung gusto natin paintindihin ang mga taong bayan kung ano talaga ang nangyayari at anong accountability ang meron yung mga government officials natin, kailangan talaga in a language that they will understand. And they should not be dragging this for so long. Plus the fact, paano makakatulan personal ng taong bayan ang mga nangyayari kung sila mismo hindi nila naiintindihan ang proceedings. We know naman the political culture of people, and how emotional some Filipinos could be, lalo na kapag meron silang loyalty sa kanilang mga elected officials. So kung kulang sila sa informasyon, doon sila kakampi eh. So paano nila maintindihan ito? And this is also crucial for the 2028 elections. So kailangan, this is not a political theater really. This senators should be told that this is not a political theater. They should not relentlessly put themselves there in public like the spotlight is there para sa kanila. The spotlight is not for them. Actually, the spotlight is for the procedure, for the trial to go on properly para po maliwanagan mo ang mga taong bayan sa talagang nangyayari.
Maraming salamat po, Professor, sa inyo pong pag-indulge sa amin po, dito po sa PH Insider, ganun din po kay Attorney JB Bautista, sa patuloy po na pagpapaliwanag at pagbibigay po ng mga analysis po sa ating pong mga mamayan. As the impeachment trial continues, the nation watches not only the fate of one public official, but also the strength of our Constitution, the integrity of our institutions, and the resiliency of Philippine democracy. This conversation is far from over, and neither is our commitment to bring you facts, context, and credible analysis beyond the headlines. I'm Romel Miranda, and this is the PH Insider on TV. Thank you po, Attorney. Thank you.
Thank you.